Hello everyone, I'm Wendell Jones and welcome to this edition of the program, The Platform. On this program, we examine national and international issues, and today on our program, we are going to do a lot of talking about an international situation. Today on our program, we are pleased to have a Bahamian who is soaring in the world of academia, and he is the president of Middle Tennessee State University, Dr. Sidney McPhee, who I have known just about all of my life and who I believe is still a Valley boy. He has been leading this university for a number of years. He is well respected in the United States and indeed in the Bahamas in the field of education. He has written a book on China through the eyes of an American university president. Dr. McPhee visits China on a regular basis, and today on our program he is going to talk to us about his book, his presidency of that prestigious university, and his visits to China. Dr. McPhee, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're still a Valley boy, right?
I am,
Very
heart
good.
and soul.
Absolutely.
Deep in the valley.
I hear you. Godfrey Enius, nice to have you here again.
Thank you, sir.
And you know Dr. McPhee now?
By reputation, first time we met.
By
reputation.
And how long have you been president of Tennessee State University?
I have been blessed, Mr. Jones, to be president for 14 years.
14 years?
The average tenure for university presidents in America is 5. So I tell a lot of people I'm living on borrowed time. It's been an incredible experience to lead one of the largest universities in America. We have about 24,000 students, 3,000 employees, and a budget of $600 million.
Wow.
And so it's a major operation. I give all the credit basically, though, to my mother, who raised 10 unbelievable kids. She turns 90 on Monday. And to the foundation. I went to Southern Junior High School and went to, then it was Highbury High, it's now Aaron Bailey.
Right.
And Miss Juanita Butler. I could name off the teachers that shaped my education, that allowed me to move on and experience just an incredible career. So my roots are here. As they say, I'm born here, and I'm a Bahamian.
Absolutely. Well, we are very appreciative of what you are doing in the United States of America, and proud of you, really, as a Bahamian. He's been to Annex Church, too.
That's right. I grew up in Annex Church and BTU.
Absolutely.
We grew up together.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
you know, this is a mutual fan club, because on a very serious note, I do want to compliment you. I've followed your career over the years. You have really accomplished just extraordinary things in this business. It's a very fickle business, the media business, but you have sustained. So congratulations on your achievements.
Thank you.
As a former Valley, as a Valley to another Valley boy, is that right?
Absolutely. Godfrey?
You mentioned your Bahamian Education Foundation, but you also didn't mention the historically black side of your education, Prairie View, where I went to Tuskegee, and what did that experience do for you in terms of motivating you and propelling you to the heights you have achieved?
That's a very good point, and it's not an omission. It's just a matter of time. I wanted to give deference first to the strong Bahamian educational system when I grew up. But you're right. Most black or African American or people of color that are in very prestigious position in America now, if you trace their roots in terms of their first degree, the majority of them have actually gotten a degree at a historically black school. Yeah. And Prairie View was an incredible experience for me. It allowed me to be able to move on to the University of Miami, where I got my master's, and to Oklahoma State. But the foundation for the Bahamas, and then having that transition where in an environment you had professors who understood your experience, worked with you, and provide you that solid education that allowed me to go to some prestigious graduate school and to hold the position I am today.
As the president of Middle Tennessee State, you have Tennessee State University.
That's right, historically black university.
In Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the South, institutions, the historically black students, are threatened by the policies in some of these states, particularly Republican states, of becoming extinct when you look at South Carolina State University, all right? What is your view on that issue?
Well, I only can speak from my knowledge base in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm aware of some of the other institutions that are struggling, but these are some trying times for higher education in general. In 2008, I had to cut $38 million from my budget. States are divesting themselves in higher education, not only just a historically white institution, but I think if you talk to any American university president, they'll tell you that that's a real challenge. Now, having said that, in Tennessee, because of the historical desegregation and segregation issue, the state entered in an agreement with the federal government that provided significant support, financial support for Tennessee State. I know that very well because before I became president of Middle Tennessee State, I was at the Board of Regents system, the governing agency. I was the interim chancellor that was responsible for all of the universities, and then the vice chancellor for academics. So I had the opportunity in that policy-making level to manage the Tennessee State situation. And I think if you go on Tennessee State's campus and you look at the buildings, you look at the resources, that university is doing exceptionally well.
I've been to Tennessee State. I played against them, I know.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about then.
You know, controlling a budget of $600 million is almost running a mini government, eh? Some of the small countries in the Caribbean, they don't have too much more than $600 million to work with, eh, Godfrey? No. So that is quite a task. So in addition to preparing yourself in academics, you are quite an administrator, it seems.
Well, it is a business.
Yes.
It requires an individual to have not only the academic credentials, but the management and the leadership. I have to interact with the government leaders at the local, federal level. We are located in the heart of Tennessee, Nashville, which is the capital. We're the largest university in that area. We're actually the largest undergraduate university and the second largest in the whole entire state of Tennessee. So for that region, we're very much involved in the economic development. We produce graduates for that economy. And so I'm on, for example, I'm on the Chamber of Commerce board for Davidson County, the Nashville area. And a lot of the mayors come to my university and seek my advice when they're seeking business and industry to move to that area, because most 21st century companies want to know that they're moving in an area where there's an educated populace and that they're going to be able to have the kinds of workers, educated workers, to run their business. So it is a huge, huge business, and I spent a lot of my time dealing with financial issues to make sure that the university is properly managed.
You know, to what extent are you connected with, say, the College of the Bahamas, the Bahamian educational system, and the kind of expertise that you can bring to bear on what is happening here in the Bahamas?
Well, unfortunately, the connection has not been there. I can speak of the connections and the partnerships I have with countries in Africa, in China, Japan. I actually will be flying next week to Lima, Peru. I'll be evaluating a university center in Lima. We'll be talking in a moment about my book that was published by the Chinese Ministry of Education. I'm a top advisor, a senior advisor to the Han Ban Confucius Institute in Beijing. I have reached out a couple of times, and I hope there's hope that something will develop.
There's hope, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned that your university is responsible for providing workers or professionals or whatever for the Tennessee economy.
Yes.
In this country, as I mentioned earlier, we are challenged by the ability to create jobs for young people, for youth. My view is that the economy is still too centered in the old economy, the paper and pencil, that economy, right? How do you create jobs in an economy for young people who understand the digitized world in which we live,
The technology and the
and to create this technology-driven world? And I think that is the problem these governments are facing in the region. As I mentioned earlier, 33% of the youth in the region are unemployed because we're still mired in this old economy.
Well, just before the show, I was reading in your Bahama Journal an article on the transition of the College of the Bahamas to the University of the Bahamas. And what I read in that article suggests that at least there's a conversation going on about redefining the role of the College of the Bahamas in workforce and economic development. And I think it's a loan by the Caribbean Development Bank that will help.
Yeah.
I think they're moving that's in the right direction. I will tell you that that's our #1 priority for our university. Every time we work on developing new degree programs, we sit down with the Industrial Development Board for the region, the Chamber of Commerce, and we do assessment. We have a Bureau of Economic Research that provides research on policy issues to the regional area, and we work hand in hand. All great cities, all great countries have great universities. Look at Boston, Harvard, and the universities, MIT. Look at North Carolina, the Research Triangle, Duke,
North
Chapel
Carolina,
Hill, NC State. We are modeling that kind of partnership. In fact, a few years ago, the Southern Educational Research magazine ranked my university and our relationship with the city and county government as one of the tops in the nation in terms of partnering together to create jobs and opportunities.
The same kind of cartel you speak about is what they have in Atlanta.
That's
Morehouse,
right. The Morehouse,
Spelman,
absolutely.
Atlanta U. It's the same kind of
great cities,
yeah.
Great universities.
Tell me, Dr. McPhee, the role of a university and or a college in providing research and information to governments, information by which they can make decisions and to assist in leading the society.
One of the primary roles, essential. I think if you look at, for an example, in the United States, the NHI, the different agencies that the federal government has created that provides funds to universities to conduct research that leads to new knowledge and new technology. If you look at all the advancement in the last 20 or 30 years in technology and economic development, you can trace it back to major research done at major universities. So in addition to educating the minds of individuals and preparing for those workforce, the engagement in research in what we call transfer technology, where the research in the labs are then transferred into business applications. I'll give you an example of what we're doing, a major project at my university that we're partnering with the Chinese on. Traditional Chinese medicine. Our university has one of the top science facilities in America. We just opened up a $147 million new building just for the teaching of biology and chemistry. And within that, we're conducting research where our Chinese partners are sending us the traditional plants, those medicinal plants. We're conducting research at MTSU on the extracts of those plants that will help cure cancer, Alzheimer, diabetes, et cetera, et cetera. And so the work from that research will then go into pharmaceutical businesses that develop drug treatments for different types of disease. That's happening at my university.
Okay. And so it is extremely important that governments look to colleges and universities for advice.
Absolutely.
Rather than looking elsewhere in the society.
Yeah, the universities have to be a major part of that. And the good news is I'm hearing that in the conversations I've had with Minister Fitzgerald, Jerome Fitzgerald. I had an opportunity to meet him last year and hosted him to an event in Dallas. And he talks about the role of the college really providing that kind of conduit that will help the government in the country building or the nation building. So I think that kind of conversation is going on, and I'm very hopeful that for this country to move forward, that you'll see that happening.
Perhaps as a Bahamian at Middle Tennessee State, you can also send them a paper or two from time to time.
Well, yes, and actually on that point, a few years ago, I was invited to an annual economic meeting with business and industry in Freeport, and I actually gave a speech on that and talked about the importance of education. And you have to even drill down before the college level. You have to have students who are prepared in elementary school, middle school, high school, that are ready to take advantage of the opportunities. So the whole educational system has to be efficiently operated and managed, and then there has to be that partnership with business and industry. The universities can't do it alone. Business and industry must forge that partnership with the education system, with the university taking the lead.
Okay.
Dr. McPhee, you are a product of this educational system.
Yes, I am. Proud product.
Yeah. And you are also a part of this society, right?
Yes.
Which is a society which has never hardly been nurtured in the sciences. A society which has been service-oriented for the last 50-odd years, since the mid-1950s, where science and technology are pretty much on the back burner. All right? And how do you get a society to understand the role of research in pointing the country in a new direction, identifying new opportunities, right? Developing your environment, developing your natural resources, all right? How do you get, in many cases, the political leadership in the country to understand that?
Well, having spent the last 35 to 40 years in the United States, I don't consider myself an expert on the Bahamian society. I must.
You are disconnected, Dr. McPhee?
Well, I'm connected with my family. I come back on a regular basis, but I'm not engaged professionally, so I don't know what the plans are.
But you have observations, Dr. McPhee.
Yeah, it's observation based on knowledge, and I try to speak on those things that I'm knowledgeable about. And to be honest with you, I am not knowledgeable about exactly where the Bahamas are. I'll tell you, the indicators of success for communities and societies is when you develop a diverse economy, a diverse base. And the United States is struggling. And I'll tell you what, when I became president, about 15 years ago, one of the first meetings I had was the head of the chamber for that community called me and asked me to participate in a retreat by the chamber board and business executives. And to your point, they wanted to shift, and this was 14 years ago, from more of a service-based economy to what we call the high-tech, high sciences. And they wanted the university to advise them and give them expertise in that area. We actually did. We developed a program called Destination Rutherford. Rutherford is the county in which the university is located in Middle Tennessee near Nashville. That plan has made Middle Tennessee area one of the fastest job growing creation in the United States of America. You can Google it, you can check it for the last 10 years. Now, right within our university, we have, like, Nissan has a major manufacturing plant. We have several other industries, but they wanted to diversify. And they developed a strategic plan. They worked that plan. Business, industry, government, political leaders work together. And now, when you look at the economy of Middle Tennessee State, the Middle Tennessee area where our university is located, it is one of the most vibrant economies in America. We're very proud of that.
Dr. McPhee, we can spend a whole lot of time talking about academics and the role of the university or a college in a particular community, but we need to talk about your book.
Yes.
And so let us take a break here on the program. And when we return, we will talk about this very exquisite book that Dr. McPhee has produced on China through the eyes of an American university president and through the eyes of a Bahamian too.
Yes.
We take this break, we'll come right back.